Hi, and welcome to the HeatWatch volunteer training video. First, we want to thank you for participating in the campaign and taking time to learn about your role in this important local effort. We couldn't do this without you. HeatWatch has been performed in over 100 cities around the world with the help of thousands of data collectors just like you. In this training video, we'll go over your role as a HeatWatch data collector, covering sensors, route navigation, campaign day, and next steps. After the video, we'll ask you a few questions to make sure you're ready, so please pay attention to the details throughout. We'll also ask you to complete a liability waiver and photo release for your participation in the campaign. CAPA is a climate adaptation consultancy based out of Portland, Oregon. At CAPA, we collect data, develop tools, and design actionable strategies to accelerate community adaptation to climate change. HeatWatch is CAPA's community-powered mapping campaign. With your help, we make detailed maps that show heat distribution across your city. These maps help educate communities, inform policy, and inspire climate action. Cities are hotter than non-urban areas due to the urban heat island effect. If you're already familiar with this concept, great. If not, here's a quick introduction. Materials on Earth's surface absorb high-energy radiation from the sun. Some materials, like concrete or asphalt, absorb the sun's radiation and release it slowly. This makes certain areas hotter during the day and prevents them from cooling off at night. Other features of cities, like trees, water, and light-colored surfaces, also absorb the sun's radiation, but they are faster to release and reflect it. Features like these generally keep areas cooler, though many other factors play into your experience of heat in each neighborhood, like building density, shade availability, and street orientation. This leads us to ask a few research questions. How are people in cities affected by heat? And does that change based on where they live, work, and play? As temperatures continue to rise in cities, finding answers to these questions is more important than ever. Your city may already be using satellite-based land surface temperature maps to show heat distribution. While these maps are useful at larger scales, they don't accurately represent people's day-to-day experience of heat. The HeatWatch method produces high-resolution maps of air temperature at roughly 2 meters or 6 feet above the ground. To do this, we collect tens of thousands of temperature and humidity measurements across a study area on a hot day. That's where you come in. Volunteers like you collect these measurements in the morning, afternoon, and evening to help understand how heat distribution changes throughout the day. HeatWatch data collectors drive responsive sensors along pre-planned route to collect temperature and humidity measurements. We'll go into more detail on this in a bit. These temperature and humidity data are then used in a model that looks at the surrounding land cover of each data point and makes temperature and heat index maps across the entire study area. Take a moment and consider, where in your city or neighborhood seems especially warm on a hot summer day? Where would you go outside to cool off? Why do you think these places are hotter or cooler? You're thinking like an urban climatologist already. Next, let's get into the details of the campaign and the role you will play in identifying hotter and cooler areas across your city. First, let's talk about where you will collect the data. Since it will be impossible to collect data everywhere at once across the city, HeatWatch uses a sampling approach at specific locations. To cover these areas, we design data collection routes that cover parts of the city that include a diverse mix of land covers and geographic features. You will be sampling these diverse features by driving the sensor along the pre-planned routes in teams of 2. Each team needs a driver whose only task is safe driving, and a navigator who's responsible for directing turns, keeping an eye on the sensor, and taking field notes. It's important to stay flexible and think like a field scientist. For example, if something unexpected happens, how will you adjust? What kind of things are important to report back in your field notes? Don't worry, later we'll go over a few common situations that could happen during your campaign. As the date of your campaign approaches, your organizer will keep a close eye on the weather forecast to ensure ideal conditions on your planned campaign day. If the weather is not cooperating, your organizer may need to shift the date of the campaign to a backup day. If this happens and you are unavailable, please know that your offer to participate is appreciated and essential for running a successful campaign. Once your campaign date is confirmed, your organizer will send out an email confirming the date as well as next steps, like where and when to pick up your sensor equipment. Your campaign package will contain several items: your heat watch sensor, charging cable, adapters, and bumper magnet. Please be sure to keep track of all of these items and return them at the end of the campaign. Attach the magnet to your rear bumper to let other drivers know that you are on an important mission for climate science. After you're done collecting data, you're welcome to keep the bumper magnet as a token of our appreciation. Next, we'll learn how to install and operate your sensor. The device consists of a temperature and humidity sensor that is housed in a solar radiation guard at the top of the shaft. The radiation guard shields the sensor from the sun's radiation. The shaft keeps the sensor at a safe distance from any heat emitted by your vehicle and holds wires that transfer the sensor measurement down to the sensor's processor. The sensor operates through a single on-off button and an intuitive light system. Simply press the button to turn on the sensor. You will see two lights flash: the battery light and the GPS function light. If the lights do not turn on, try the button again. Some buttons can be a little sticky. The first light on the left is the GPS function light. This button shows if the sensor has locked into enough GPS satellites to precisely track its location. While searching, the light blinks blue. Once the sensor has a GPS lock, the light will stop blinking and turn to solid blue, which takes up to 5 minutes. This means your sensor is working properly. The light should stay solid blue throughout your route. The second light to the right shows the current battery level. It will blink for 5 seconds after the sensor is turned on. Red means a low battery, yellow means half full, and green means fully charged. The sensor's battery lasts for about 24 hours. You will receive your sensor mostly or fully charged, but if you see that the battery is running low, you can plug in the sensor with your charging cable. The sensor should be in the off position to charge most quickly. The battery requires 3 to 6 hours to charge fully, depending on your power source. While charging, you will see a blinking yellow light. To check how charged the sensor is, unplug it and turn it on again to check the battery light. Let's talk about errors. If you see a blinking red and blue light, this indicates an error in the sensor's operation. If this happens, the first thing to do is turn the sensor off and on again. If this doesn't work, try plugging the sensor in for a few minutes and then try again. If the lights keep blinking red and blue, let your organizer know and they will trade it out for a new sensor. To install the sensor, roll down your front passenger side window, place the slot of the sensor over the top of the window, and roll your window up until the device feels stable and secure. Be sure to keep a hand on the sensor at all times. It may be helpful to stand outside the vehicle with the door open while installing. If your vehicle has a safety feature that automatically rolls down your window when objects are in the way, you can gently tap the window up button repeatedly until the sensor is locked into place. Your window should remain rolled up until the end of your route. Rolling it down while driving may cause the sensor to fall. Wait for the sensor to be in this position before turning it on so that you only collect readings from the outside environment. When you've finished your route, find a safe place to park, turn off the sensor, and then uninstall the sensor by rolling down the window. Note that it is okay to run your vehicle's air conditioner while driving. This will not change the sensor's measurements. Plus, you should keep yourself cool on this hot day. All right, it's finally campaign day. First, give yourself plenty of time to arrive at the starting place of your assigned route, at least 15 minutes before you start. For example, if your route starts at 3 p.m., you should arrive around 2:45 p.m. Be sure to park in a safe location, install your sensor into the passenger side window, then turn it on. Remember, we're doing climate science, so it's really important that you start driving on time to make sure that the data you collect can be used later in the modeling process. Navigators will be given driving directions in 2 formats. Each route will have a route directions document which contains a map and written directions turn by turn. There will also be a link and QR code to an application called Bike GPX. This is a simple-to-use app with no login required. Just install the app on your smartphone and then select the link or QR code to your route. When you're at your route's starting point and ready to leave, select Start Riding, and the app will start turn-by-turn directions. If you get off course, the app will guide you back to the route. In order to gather the most accurate measurements of temperature, vehicles should stay under 35 miles per hour. Most routes are designed to avoid major roads. However, if you find yourself on a road with a higher speed limit than 35 miles per hour, please mind your safety first and move with the flow of traffic as needed. If possible, you can also drive in a slower lane to the right, or turn on your hazard lights to indicate that you are intentionally moving slowly. If you do hit traffic and have to slow down, that is okay. You are still collecting valuable data. While driving, be sure to avoid low-hanging tree branches or other obstacles that might catch or hit the equipment. Remember that your vehicle is about 12 inches taller than usual with a sensor attached. If you find that part of your route is blocked or has a detour, do your best to get back on track. Be sure to take the same detour in the remaining routes. Again, your safety is most important, and more likely than not, you will be collecting usable temperature data wherever you go. If you are not driving all 3 routes on campaign day, be sure to pass on any notes to the next team. There are several situations that navigators should take note of and pass back to their organizer. For example, if you notice any unexpected weather in the hour before or during your route, such as clouds, rain, or strong winds in your area, please be sure to write these in your notes along with the time that they occurred. For instance, you might note, "My area got cloudy between 2:45 and 3:10 p.m. This will notify us of any variation from the expected sunny conditions. The sensor is not waterproof. If it starts raining, you should safely pull over, turn off the sensor, and remove it from the window. Be sure to note when the rain started. Then, get in touch with your organizer to find out what to do next. You may be instructed to wait out the rain or need to redo the route on another day. If anything else unexpected on the road occurs, or if you need to stop for any reason, please be sure to note the event and the time that it happened. You can always contact your campaign organizer if you are unsure of what to do in a situation. Most routes are designed to be circuitous, meaning they start and stop in roughly the same place. When you finish your route, find a safe place to pull over, then turn off and uninstall your sensor. If you finish your route early, that is okay. If you run out of time before the end of the hour, continue driving as planned until you complete it. Store the sensor in a cool, dry place between routes and charge the battery if needed. Repeat the same process during the morning, afternoon, and evening routes. After the last traverse, please return all your campaign materials, including your sensor, charging cable, adapters, and field notes, back to your organizer. Again, you are welcome to keep the bumper magnet. We love seeing photos of your experience during the campaign, so be sure to take photos and share your HeatWatch experience on social media. You can tag Kappa and NIHIS on Instagram and X at Kappa Strategies and at HeatGov, and using the hashtags #UrbanHeatMaps2024 and #KappaHeatWatch. Okay, campaign day complete. Way to go. You've just collected a lot of important climate data that will help prepare for and adapt to extreme heat in your city. With data collection complete, the final step is reviewing your campaign results. When your sensors get back to Kappa, our analyst team will start processing the thousands of measurements collected. First, we'll make maps showing the temperature measurements you collected for each of the 3 campaign periods. Next, Kappa analysts will make area-wide maps for each of the 3 campaign periods, showing the distribution of temperature and heat index across the entire study area. Kappa will share these data sets, summary report, and interactive map with your local organizer, who will pass it on to you. Lastly, thanks again for being part of the HeatWatch campaign. We truly couldn't do this work without you.